Should lab techs be processing human COVID samples if they don't have documented competency?
No, they should not. It's federal law.
Lab techs asleep while processing COVID samples. Test swabs removed from the lab and found in the restrooms. Concerning allegations from whistleblowers about what's happening inside the state's new billion-dollar COVID testing lab. First, CBS 13 uncovered thousands of inconclusive test results coming out of the state's new lab.
Now, investigative reporter Julie Watts reveals what whistleblowers say is going on inside.
This was a big investment.
It's supposed to revolutionize COVID testing in California. The state's new $25 million lab and $1.7 billion contract with PerkinElmer. But after my family received repeated inconclusive test results from the lab, we started asking questions.
Dr. Gelly, CBS 13 uncovered a surprisingly high number of inconclusive test results.
Turns out we weren't alone.
We did identify a higher number than expected of tests came back inconclusive.
First, Health Secretary Galley blamed problems with a chemical reaction. Then Public Health said their highly sensitive test detects lower levels of virus, which they report as inconclusive. Whatever the reason, the rate of inconclusive tests from the new state lab is 7.5 times higher than other COVID labs in the state. Data reveals 1 out of every 256 tests from other labs comes back inconclusive, compared to 1 out of every 34 tests from the state. More than 50,000 tests from the state lab since November alone did not reveal if the person actually had COVID.
That lab should be shut down because they're jeopardizing people's life.
This whistleblower, we'll call Dottie, is one of several we spoke with who want the public to know what's actually happening inside your state lab. From unlicensed lab techs watching videos and literally sleeping while processing nasal swabs for testing,
Even though it's a machine, you have to watch it.
to emails reporting sample swabs were found in the restrooms more than once. Why would someone take a human specimen swab out of the lab and into the bathroom?
Who knows what they're doing? They're not supervised.
But whistleblowers say the sleeping and swabs are really just symptoms of systemic problems. For instance, they say many who are extracting the crucial RNA from the samples, the part of the virus that's tested,
They're unlicensed. They're fresh from college.
and while some lab techs don't have to be licensed, instead of licensed supervisors, some shifts have unlicensed techs referred to as leads overseeing the other unlicensed techs.
And the people training them are also unlicensed.
Emails reveal management asked supervisors to retrain team members months into the job, citing several incidents where samples were lost.
When they don't have enough training, they don't know what they're doing is wrong.
And emails indicate staff were processing patient samples before completing required training modules or getting signed off for competency on their equipment, due in part to a lack of supervisors on some shifts. Should lab techs be processing human COVID samples if they don't have documented competency?
No, they should not. It's federal law.
Though Dora Gatto, Governmental Affairs for the State Laboratory Association, says there could be multiple reasons for the high number of inconclusive results coming out of this lab.
That indicates to me that there's other systemic problems.
As for sleeping on the job,
These machines don't run by themselves, regardless of how automated they are. You should be at least awake.
but she clarifies while unlicensed, unsupervised lab techs sleeping on the job is certainly not best practice, that would not necessarily be illegal.
They're jeopardizing people's results. That's why I left.
Dottie's one of a growing number of people now quitting due to ethical concerns, many afraid to come forward, noting Public Health is the state regulator and watchdog of its own lab.
They need to know what's going on there.
We sent the state additional allegations this weekend, and late tonight they sent us an updated response.
Saying, quote, "We are troubled by these allegations and will investigate them immediately and thoroughly. If these claims are substantiated, they would represent a clear violation of our existing agreement with PerkinElmer, and we would take swift action up to and including termination of the contract."